my name is Magdalena Skowron, and I've been working in e-commerce marketing for over 10 years now and specializing in marketing automation for over 8. I have supported both Polish and European brands, always with a strong data-driven approach, and my focus is on turning insights into revenue and bringing real-life customer experience into the digital space. We all know that marketing has changed dramatically over past 10 years. Customers are no longer satisfied with being just a number in our databases, and they expect brands to know them, understand them, and communicate in the right way and in the right time also. If we don't follow it, our message will be just ignored or it will be lost in the noise. That's where marketing automation and smart personalization come in. When done right, automation isn't about sending more messages faster. It's about sending the right message to the right person at the right moment. And in this session, I will show you how personalization powered by automation can build stronger relationships with your customers and increase engagement and ultimately drive growth without losing the human touch. So let's dive in. So why personalization matters? Customers are exposed to thousands of messages daily. The estimates vary, but it's said that people are exposed to between 4,000 and 10,000 commercial messages per day. And in broader definitions, including branding and so on, that number may even approach 15,000 messages daily. Why would they want to pay more attention to your communication? 71% of consumers expect personalized experiences, yet 76% feel frustrated when trends don't deliver. Now imagine visiting your favorite coffee shop where barista welcomes you and asks you about your last trip because you told him last time about it. What I always want to do in marketing is to bring this real life experience into digital, and it's very possible to do. Automation without personalization is seen as spam. And you may say that you don't send that many emails. This is what most people consider spam, right? But try explaining someone who isn't a marketer what marketing automation is. When I try to do it and I give them some examples from their life that they might understand, like abandoned cart messages or app pushes, I always, and it's literally always, doesn't matter what person I'm talking to, here, oh, so you are sending all this spam. Don't you get answers like this when you try to explain it? And how do we avoid becoming noise and instead deliver real value to our customers? This is the question that I will try to answer to today. Like I said, marketing has evolved. First, we had mass communication, one message sent to everyone. And this is how I started my e-commerce career path. The whole team was sitting in one room discussing promotions for upcoming week. And then I was sending one email with all of the special offers to our whole database. How did it perform? For those times, it was really not bad. But that was over 10 years ago, and the times changed since then. There, the segmentation trend hit, and as a store that was selling cosmetics, we had a very simple yet super brilliant in our heads idea. We should create male and female audiences and send specific promos to specific groups. It also didn't perform bad and it gave us some growth, but then the real opportunity came and it was personalization. I'm guessing that the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about personalization is using your leads' names. And of course, it was another brilliant idea to use them in the subjects. That was also like a golden hit for us again, because it raised our open rates by around 5% points. However, this is only a very basic and very simple example of how we can and should personalize our messages. Nowadays, it's also pretty boring for customers and really isn't anything special that will make your email stand out from your customer inbox. And here's where smart personalization starts. The goal is to bring one-to-one experiences at scale, like in your favorite coffee shop, from my example. Okay, so what is smart personalization? We need human-centered approach first that is driven by data to be successful and give customers the best experience. And I mean almost the real-life experience. This goes way beyond demographics and includes behavior, intent, and context. It has to be dynamic and adaptive, not static. And let's switch now to another example, a pet store. A small one that is just next to your neighborhood where you always go to buy food for your dog. Also where the owner knows that your dog's name is Astar and he was born a year ago. This time when you are visiting the store and you're looking at the usual dog food that you were buying, the owner suggests you that you should switch to the kibbles for an adult dog because he remembers that your dog is turning into adulthood now. Since he also surely gained some strength, the owner presents to you new colors with a safe clip and toys that will be suitable for stronger jaws now. Now, as a marketer, think about how well this approach builds loyalty and how will it affect the client's final decision. And this is what I always want to serve to e-commerce clients, and this is all possible. Marketing automation and smart personalization builds trust and loyalty first, and the conversions are just a side effect. Like I mentioned, our approach should be data-driven, but how and where should we collect data and what data? Starting from the last question, the more data, the better. You never know when you might want to use and when you might want to use it, and collecting reliable and quality data will definitely take some time. However, like always, quality beats quantity. Make sure that your database is properly structured to store all the information. The forms that the customers will be filling are clear for them and also user-friendly, and that the tracking code send proper data. Where to collect the data? Like again, everywhere. For example, on the website, from forms, tracking codes, all the events like page views, purchases, add to carts, and so on. You can also collect them in the app if you have an app, all the events like screen views and all the other ones, from emails, SMSs, web pushes, WhatsApp messages, opens, clicks, from all the on-site elements, views of them like pop-ups, top bars, sidebars, from social media, all the interactions available, and also offline, like for example, from loyalty apps or web beacons. Now, what to do with collected data? My favorite thing, analyze it or leave it to AI. Now, most of the marketing automation tools offer their AI agents that you can use for different tasks. And even if I always apply my dad's rule to AI, who says love and trust, but always check, with this particular case, when AI only has to use algorithms, it is very unlikely to make mistakes. Then, after analyzing data, there's just the last step left, applying and running everything. Important thing is that all the actions should be happening in real time. Timing is really crucial here, so it's very worth considering this aspect when choosing the right marketing automation tool for your business. Also, remember that marketing automation isn't only about emails. This is the most common thinking, but it goes way beyond that. We can divide the channels between on-site and off-site communication. In the first group, there are all the pop-ups, sidebars, top bars, product recommendations, and all the other website elements. And when it comes to off-site marketing, we have obvious messages like email, WhatsApp, SMS, but also web pushes and partially social media or Google Ads. since we can communicate most of the marketing automation tools with them to build audiences and use them in our communication. Now, let's dive into some real-life examples of the impact personalization can have. It's one thing to talk about personalization in theory, but it really comes to life when you see the numbers and stories behind it. These aren't abstract concepts. They are real results achieved by some of the world's biggest and most recognizable brands. We will look at how companies used automation and smart personalization to improve customer onboarding, boost engagement, and even double the effectiveness of their campaigns. Each example will show you how small changes based on customer data and behavior can lead to significant business growth. And make sure to pay attention to the last case. It comes from a brand and a campaign you all know very well, but you might not even think of it as of personalization per se. Still, they did it in a very powerful, creative, and effective way. Our first example is Amazon. It is probably the best known example of smart personalization at scale. Their product recommendation engine, and I mean those customers who bought this product also bought, or you might also like sections, drives around 35% of Amazon's total revenue. What's powerful here is that recommendations are not just based on demographics, but on real behavior, browsing history, purchase history, and also what similar customers do. It's personalization that feels relevant, and it makes shopping easier, not overwhelming. And this is something that is seen by a customer as a very helpful thing while shopping on Amazon. Another example that targets churn reduction this time is Duolingo. When Duolingo introduced a personalized onboarding journey for new users, including welcome emails, push reminders tailored to learning goals, and progress-based encouragement, they saw a 20% reduction in early churn, which is like a huge number. We all know that. Instead of losing users in the first week, more learners stayed active, completed their first lessons, and formed a usage habit. It's a great example of why you should focus on your existing leads before getting new ones. Another great example comes from Starbucks and their loyalty program. Their mobile app doesn't just collect loyalty points, it uses purchase history, location data, and preferences to send offers that feel almost one-to-one. For example, if you usually order a latte in the morning, you might get a discount push notification just before your typical coffee time in the exact store you visit. This strategy brings Starbucks over $1 billion in incremental annual revenue. It shows how personalization can go beyond emails and become part of the daily customer experience. A brand that kind of mimics that behavior in Poland is Lidl. They have these personalized coupons based on your previous shopping preferences that you can find in your app. And our last surprising example is Coca-Cola. Why is it surprising? Because it's an example of a great offline personalization. However, it was supported, of course, also by digital channels. By replacing its logo on bottles with popular first names or words like buddy, friends, and so, Coca-Cola created a highly personalized experience. Customers started actively searching for bottles with their own names and those of their friends or family members. The campaign generated a 2-digit uplift in engagement worldwide, and in some markets doubled social media interactions compared to standard campaigns. It's a great example of connecting offline and online worlds with personalization. So, how to personalize in a smart way? First thing is to understand your customers. Your knowledge should be based on reliable data, and do not hesitate to collect it in any way that comes to your mind. You can't have any better source than your customers themselves. Therefore, I highly encourage you to use surveys. Of course, you cannot overwhelm your customers with them, but just find the right balance. One more source that is not used very often, but definitely should be, is asking people that work in your company and have direct contact with the customers. And from my experience, I used to work for a company that produces and sells bicycles. And my most valuable source of information were my colleagues from customer care and also the employees of stationery trade. And actually, the whole cross and upselling processes in our marketing automation system were built on their recommendations. The second step of smart personalization is designing relevant customer journeys. What you would probably do is reading some recommendations about abandoned cart flows that will say, send first email after an hour, second email after 12 hours, and something like this. You should never follow such rules blindly. The decision process of or processing information would vary a lot depending on your business and your customers. From my experience, it's completely different when it comes to buying pet food. That is a product used daily and has its spot in your client's monthly budget, versus a bicycle that costs at least a few thousand and you buy it once per few years. While thinking of personalization, you should consider all of it, including also the channel's timing and the communicate itself. Then the third step is flexible automation. What do I mean with that? Is that you should consider as many possible scenarios as you can think of. You can't treat every lead the same way. Let's have a look at the welcome flow. Why would you send the same communicates to a person who subscribed to your marketing communication while placing an order on your website, and the same one to someone who didn't really have a chance to get to know your brand better because they only subscribed via meta lead ads encouraged by your ad creation? They definitely need a different approach, and you have to take it into consideration if you want to have better results. Or just let AI think instead of you. Just remember, trust, but always check, or rather test in this case. And with that, we smoothly reach our last step, which is analysis. I am honestly always surprised how little marketers care about that, which is an unforgivable mistake in my opinion. Without that, you can't change, and without change, you're not growing. Always analyze your actions and always make conclusions, because there's always a room for improvement. When we look ahead, personalization is only going to get smarter and faster. Thanks to AI, we're moving from reactive to predictive personalization. That means systems will anticipate customer needs before they even express them. Actually, some of marketing automation tools are already doing it, and they do it great. Another trend is real-time cross-channel orchestration, making sure that whether you interact with a brand through email, SMS, app, website, or even in-store, the experience feels seamless and consistent. And Starbucks is doing it very right, if you want an example. We will also see loyalty ecosystems becoming hyper-personalized, adapting rewards, messages, and offers for each person individually. And I am really looking forward to it. But here's the challenge. As we personalize more, customers also care more about privacy and control. The brands that succeed will be the ones that balance relevance with respect for customer data. I was mentioning this balance quite a few times in my presentation. If we don't apply it in our communication, our messages will be seen as spam, not only by mailboxes, but most importantly by our customers. And being ignored by them is worse than landing in a spam folder. The future seems to be really exciting, but also very demanding. It's about being smarter and more responsible at the same time, and also smarter and more responsible than our competitors. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with 3 points. First, personalization should build trust and loyalty. It is what makes customers feel understood. Second, automation only works when it feels human. Without relevance and empathy, it's just noise, and it will be lost in noise. And third, Focus on outcomes, not outputs. Don't celebrate the numbers of campaigns you send, celebrate the revenue, retention, and satisfaction you achieve. At the end of the day, smart personalization is not about tools or channels, it's about relationships, and strong relationships are what drive long-term growth. Thank you for your time and attention today.